نؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لهم جنات تجري من تحتها الأنهار خالدين فيها أبدا رضي الله عنه ورضوا عنه ذلك الفوز العظيم صدق الله العظيم. My dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. The translation of the ayah which I've been repeating from the last 3 weeks, because we are talking about one important aspect of looking at the lives of the heroes of Islam. So the translation goes like this: theirs are gardens with rivers flowing beneath, their eternal home. Allah well pleased with them, and they with Allah. That is the greatest salvation. So if you remember, and I would probably like to recall quickly that last 2 weeks we've been highlighting how important role models are in life, because we all learn the most through role modeling. वैसे किताबों से भी सीख लेते हैं हम लोग सीख लेते हैं from concepts, from people, but the most powerful concepts, values, the most powerful of our transformation happens when we look up to people whom we really look, they inspire us. People who inspire us, people's lives, when you notice their lives that they have lived in a particular way, especially when we talk to youngsters, they always get inspired with someone in their family, some elder in their family. When you ask them who has impacted your life the most, they say it's my grandfather or my uncle or my father or my brother-in-law. They just go around the circle. As they start growing older, they get exposed to more of the people who are from the sports world, from the movies world, and from the different arenas like the business arena, and that starts, they start noticing these people and say, I want to take them as my role models. And in this whole focus, somewhere, because we do not speak about the heroes of Islam, the actual heroes, the real superheroes, somewhere they start looking at the ones who are there, who are not actually the heroes. They are more the people who have achieved something in the dunya, and then they start following them. That's where they start moving away from the principles of Islam. So that's the main intention. I thought this is an important thing to talk about the real heroes, and in that we spoke about, last 3 weeks I have been speaking about Umar Razillah Ta'ala, Faruqul Ummah, the one our Prophet ﷺ said, if there was any Nabi after me, it would have been Umar Radiyallahu Ta'ala. So in that, last week I highlighted 5 personal qualities of his. Even before going into his leadership and what he conquered, how he lived, we thought we'll just talk about his 5 very simple, basic, personal qualities which you and I can implement in our lives. तो वो 5 qualities ये थे. एक तो इनके अंदर इतनी humility, इतनी जो है, इतनी इंतसारी थी, that he used to clean, sweep and swab the masjids. When he used to come to the masjid, he used to clean. अपने आप को जो है, he reminded himself who he really was and how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him dignity. So he used to clean, sweep, swab. He would sleep anywhere. He didn't have any qualms that he was Faruqul Ummah. He was the Amirul Mu'mineen. He was the leaders of the believers. He was almost like a king and a sultan. But he never had that in his mind. He used to sleep under a tree. Neend aa gayi, thak gaye, ek jhaad nazar aaya, so gaye. So that was, highlighting the qualities of the true heroes. Look at the true heroes which our children are running after, and look at this. There's a big contrast, right? So when they show true heroes in the world today, they show them with fancy cars and great clothes, brands. All the association is completely around dunya. But the real heroes are these people sweeping the masjid, sweeping their own house, helping the wife with chores. आजकल के ज़माने में जो लोग who think that really they are men, they are like men. They think that it is very unlike them to go and help their wife in the kitchen. But look at these people. These are the real superheroes. He wore clothes which were highly compromised. They have counted that they have counted, and there are different narrations that he had 14 patches on his clothes. Then it was available, non-vegetarian was available, he used to eat it very rarely because he used to say, जो उम्मत को हासिल नहीं होता वो मैं नहीं खाना चाहता. He could afford it, but he never, he sparingly ate it. And then when it came to serving the people, he would go himself and serve. He never delegated service. अगर पानी ले जाना है किसी के घर को या राशन ले जाना है, खुद लेके जाते थे. So these were the 5 qualities which we highlighted yesterday. I want to touch upon his leadership. Now the moment I say leadership, what we think, leadership bole to, you're talking about leading the entire community. No, all of us are leaders at our own positions. We are leaders to the ecosystem Allah has given us. We are leaders inside our houses, in the neighborhood, in our organization, inside wherever, in the school, college, we are leaders. And we need to explore the qualities which Allah has given. If we have the yaqeen saying, Allah created me with qualities. If you look at people who put you down, then you will believe them. People who put you down will say that you are good for nothing. तुम्हारे अंदर कुछ भी नहीं. लेकिन Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, you are the best of my creation. Right? So if we believe in Allah, we have to explore those qualities which Allah has hidden inside us. So look at the qualities where you see Umar Razillah Talan before Islam, what kind of a man he was, how aggressive, how unreasonable, how he was completely against the Ummah, against Rasulullah. The moment he transformed, came into the Deen, his leadership completely blossomed, and he became one of the most, not only liked by Muslims, he's liked by everybody. If you go back to history and recount, people praise the way he led, praise the way he created justice and equality, which is so difficult. हमारे घर में 2 बच्चे हैं तो उनके बीच में जस्टिस करना इज वेरी डिफिकल्ट, राइट? हमारे घर के अंदर जो लोग हैं उनके बीच में अदल इंसाफ करना बहुत मुश्किल होता है. हमारे ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के अंदर 10 एम्प्लॉयज हैं, उनके बीच में अदल इंसाफ करना बहुत मुश्किल होता है. ऐसे वक्त में he established what Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam founded. He took it to application during his reign. He was establishing justice, equality, and unbelievable administration. Otherwise, he couldn't be ruling over 3/4 of the world. Right? So we'll be highlighting that. There was once he said, how can I claim to be a shepherd? How can I claim to be a shepherd of this ummah when I am not troubled by the troubles which are caused to the ummah? जो चीज उन लोगों को एक्सपीरियंस, मेरी उम्मत या रसूलुल्लाह सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम की उम्मत को जो चीज एक्सपीरियंस हो रही है, जो उम्मा तकलीफ में है, वो तकलीफ अगर मैं ना एक्सपीरियंस करूं, मैं हाउ विल आई बी द लीडर ऑफ दिस crowd? So he had that kind of an understanding. Incredible love, incredible care, incredible compassion. So the moment you start looking at these qualities, you will see how Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was. You can see the shadow of his qualities in this man. Whatever he taught, whatever he lived, exactly वैसे ही इन्होंने अपनी जिंदगी गुजारी. That is the real way of applying sunnah, right? Exactly, not taking only things which are very comfortable to us. ये पसंद आई मुझे, ये सुन्नत रसूलुल्लाह सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम की पसंद है, ये मैं अडॉप्ट कर लूंगा. ये सुन्नत थोड़ा मुश्किल है इसलिए ये सुन्नत को मैं नहीं अप्लाई करूंगा. ऐसा नहीं होता. We can't be perfect, but we should put all our efforts to see how we can bring all those qualities inside, inshallah. So in this, I don't know how many of you know, so I'm going to take you through a few stories which highlight this personality in his leadership, where we are in our own school, college, corporate, in the house, in the society. How can we exhibit these qualities, inshallah? So I don't know how many of you, there's a big hue and cry about the waqf going on right now, है ना? औकाफ के बारे में there's a huge hue and cry. I was with a team the other day and a beautiful distinction was established. औकाफ, वक्फ क्या होता है? वक्फ होता है जब एक इंसान अपनी जायदाद और स्पेशली अपनी प्रॉपर्टी, it's औकाफ और वक्फ is an act where you donate your property in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the benefit of the community. So this is very important to understand. When you do waqf, you're declaring a property of yours for the sake of Allah, so that the community is benefited. In that community, you've got sick people, poor people, widows, orphans, जो भी है उनके लिए बनाते हैं. Now that is one. The other part is the waqf committee. The waqf committee is established locally so that that whole property base is managed properly. So these are two different things, right? Doing a waqf is a spirit, it's an attitude of the ummah. Whereas waqf associations or committees are established to manage that with amanat. So what he did was, Rasulullah spoke about waqf, right? अपने माल और दौलत और अपनी जायदाद को अल्लाह के रास्ते में खर्च करो. So what Umar रज़ियल्लाहु ताला अन्हु did was that he was the one who established endowments. वक़्फ को उन्होंने प्रोसेस के तौर पे, सिस्टम के तौर पे एस्टैब्लिश किया. तो उन्होंने क्या किया, लोगों को बुलाया, कहा your gardens which you have, those days the gardens were something very, खजूर के बागान होते थे, बागान अक्सर होते थे लोगों के पास. He said, if you want your gardens not only to give you fruit in this world, but to give you fruit in the hereafter, give it in the way of Allah, for the sake of the ummah. And he said, this is my garden, which Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave to me during the Khaybar, the time of Khaybar. And I am the first to donate my garden for the sake of Allah, for the sake of the ummah. So he not only preached, he was the first to give his property. This is beautiful property which Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has given him. इतनी मोहब्बत होगी उससे, वो प्रॉपर्टी को उन्होंने वक्फ कर दिया और वक्फ शुरू किया वहां से. The moment the community, the Sahaba saw this act, they all came forward and started donating their properties. And that's how Awqaf was established. No matter what the world does, no matter what kind of laws they bring, no matter what they try to uproot the system, the spirit is not going to go out. They might go against the associations, they might go against all these things, but inshallah, the spirit which we all have of donating, the way people come forward and say this property after me is going to go for waqf, that inshallah nobody can take away. Inshallah. So don't be, disheartened with these things which happen, pop-ups जो होते हैं ना, जो ये हर जमाने में होता है, हक और बातिल की जो लड़ाई होती है, ये बातिल हर वक्त ऐसे काम करता है. So don't get disheartened. All this is like a, bubble in the air. It's just going to pop up. All these systems, whatever you find fitna is very short-lived. Iman is something which will be there. Allah will protect it till the day of Qiyamah. No need to worry about it. All we have to worry about is how far am I going to be pure in my act? How should I be sincere? ये फिक्र ज़्यादा करना है, right? In the matter of worrying about the larger picture, we lose out on focusing on our own tarbiyah. So first we have to do our own tarbiyah, take care of the tarbiyah of our own house and ecosystem, and then move to the others. Otherwise, it will be like we are doing the khair for everybody, but we are ignoring the people within our own control. So he's also. So I'm giving you a few incidents. Inshallah, I may not cover a lot of them. But just think about it. Just try to connect to this man, Umar Razillah Ta'ala. Just try to connect to him. Start reading about him. Start studying about it. It's beautiful. Some of the things which he did was just, it just inspires. Like, you watch something in the movies and that inspires you, and it's so fake, but still inspires you, and you go back and there are so many things you think about. Look at this man. On a particular time, Amirul Mu'mineen did not have any food. Can you believe this? A sultan or a king or a commander of the Muslims, he didn't have food. He was completely tight, उनके financials बहुत खराब थे, he didn't have money, and he was finding it very difficult to sustain himself and his family. So he went to the Sahaba who were governing the Baitul Mal and said, Amir al-Mu'mineen के लिए कुछ entitlements है क्या? Because he was struggling, he went and asked. And then they said, yeah, of course, you are entitled to fine garment. You are entitled to clothes from the Baitul Mal. You are entitled to food for yourself and your family. And you are entitled to an animal for you to ride around. And also you are entitled for anything which is required for you to administer the community or the ummah properly. ये सब entitlement आपके हैं, आप ले सकते हैं. They said, can you tell me a little more simpler version? Then Ali Razila Talan made it very easy. Ali Razila Talan said, you are entitled to 2 meals per day for yourself and your family. Then he said, Alhamdulillah, I think this is okay. Then they also said, you are entitled to 1 dress in summer. He is making it very quantifiable. Ali Razila Taala understood, इसको open रखेंगे तो ये मानेंगे नहीं, इनको quantify करने से मान सकते हैं बोल के. He said, you are entitled to 1 dress in the summer and 1 in the winter. And then you are entitled to 1 animal to ride on. And this is exactly what every Muslim is entitled to from the Baitul Mal. जो इंसान के पास माल और खाना वगैरह नहीं होता है, उसके लिए ये एंटाइटलमेंट है कि 2 मील्स खा सकते हैं, get 1 dress in summer and 1 in winter, and 1, sawari. The moment that was told, he said, Alhamdulillah, I accept it because I am only one among the Muslims. Think about it. It's a very, very difficult situation. If we are a leader of a small organization, we ask a list of entitlements. What all entitlements do I have, Bulke? Look at this man. So he used to eat less. He used to eat less because he felt that unless every person who is hungry in the ummah doesn't get his food, I am not entitled to. So he used to eat less, and he is not used to eat the best of the food. Somebody saw and he was losing weight. He was a massive man. He was a very strong man, very heavily built. He was losing weight. Visibly, some of the Sahabas saw, and they brought yogurt. Us zamane mein yogurt was a very nice, dish. They brought yogurt. One of the Sahaba gave him yogurt. He took the yogurt and immediately he gave it in charity. He gave it away. He didn't eat it. And then there was one time when he was sitting and people were around, they were discussing something, and he hadn't eaten properly and his stomach was rumbling. जब बहुत भूख लगती है तो आवाज निकलती है ना. So that sound was so evident to everybody around that he was, that sound of hunger, the rumbling of the stomach was very evident. He waited for a few minutes and afterwards he looked at his stomach and he said, rumble or no rumble, you will not be filled until every child of the ummah's stomach is filled. He looks at his stomach and tells that. What a man, what a character. Think about it. Now we love to eat our full. It's not that he didn't have access, he had all the access, but he lived that life. He also, somebody offered meat. He also said that I will not touch meat until every person in the ummah is able to afford meat. When he was Amirul Mu'mineen. Once he returned home, and these are very small incidents, but these are all recorded incidents. Once he returned home and he saw his son with a big piece of watermelon. Watermelon was luxury. It's a fruit and it was luxury. The moment he saw the watermelon, he said, how did you get, he's like, upset. Amir al-Mu'mineen ka beta with a watermelon which nobody else can afford. How can this happen? Where? So he started chasing, get me the watermelon piece back. So the wife shouts from there and says, Amir al-Mu'mineen, he has bought this out of his own savings and his own money. Aisa mat karo. He said, no, he has to give it back because until every child in the ummah does not enjoy a watermelon piece, my son is not entitled to it. Sounds very extreme, right? But I think that is the way, the righteous way of being sincere towards Allah, which is very difficult to establish. But we should try that. We should try this because that's when our iman will increase, our iman will be nourished, our souls will be nourished if we try this. Right? So there was another incident when I think it was Safwan Razillah Ta'ala who brought, and they were in, I think it was Hajj or Umrah. So Umar Razillah Ta'ala was there in that particular gathering. So Safwan Razillah Ta'ala organized some food in a big platter. 4 people, the servants of those days, they brought the platter of that badi sheen ke andar jo hai khana leke aaye, or they kept it in front of him. And usually what do the servants do? They keep the food and they withdraw, right? They go back and they stood in the sides and the plate was kept in front of him. He looked at Safwan Razillah Ta'ala and said, who is this for? He said, it's for you and me, for us. So immediately he had a small stick, he nudged his stomach and said, when did all this type of practices start? When did we start becoming the people who are entitled? Then he said, he asked those 4 servants to come and sit. And they were very reluctant. Amir al-Mu'minin ke saath kaise baithenge? He said, no, please come. The moment they sat, he said, start eating. They started eating. The moment they started eating, he stood up and went and stood in their place. Leaders are servants. True leaders. Islam के अंदर leadership का concept is completely different as compared to the world. And he just stood up and he said, he told that they are the people who we need to serve. They are not the people who should serve us. And this is, one of the incidents where, he did this. And then sometimes the governors of different parts of his kingdom used to send him gifts, special food, goodies. He used to send it back to them. I mean, this initially happened after the people understood. यहाँ तो दाल गलने वाली नहीं है बोल के. So they used to send gifts, goodies, food and all to him. He used to send it back along with a letter saying that don't try to bribe me. Because when you are in a position, even Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you a position, people actually don't respect you, they respect the position. That's why they give you a lot of goodies, they give you gifts, they give you all that. The moment you get out of position, no, पूछ के देखने वाला भी नहीं होता है. हकीकत है ना? So he was so conscious that I will not budge a bit, I will not take anything from anybody. So he used to send back the food, send back the goodies and say, don't do this to me. It's a form of bribe. Also, when you want to build, most of us understand family businesses. When you want to build a family business, it's very easy. You put a private limited company, you become the CEO or MD and CEO, and all the family members become directors or partners, and you start the business. And alhamdulillah, there are a lot of people who do successful business models through the family oriented business, but the only way it becomes successful is by a dictatorship. एक आदमी रहेंगे जो head रहेंगे, he will tell this is how you have to do, this is how you have to do, and everybody follows, and that's how the whole business moves. And it's a successful model. It is not that it is unsuccessful. It's a absolutely successful model. But then, if you want to take this to the next level, you want to grow the company, and you want to have 500,000 people, 1 lakh people working inside your organization, you can't do it if you don't put systems and processes. You might have understood that many people have ideas, many people have concepts, but to take it to a different level of expansion, you need to have systems and processes, right? So imagine Umar Razila Ta'ala ruling 3/4 of the world. What kind of systems and processes he might have put without having any IT? Amazing, right? And everything was driven in a very beautiful manner. Now, some of the policies which he created, step by step उन्होंने भी सीखा और policies को create किए. जैसे organization के अंदर policies बनाते हैं, HR policy होता है, travel policy होता है, reimbursement policy, ऐसे policies होते हैं, किसको कितना मिलना है, कैसे मिलना है, कब मिलना है, आपको कोई resource hire करना है तो कैसे approach करना है. Everything is a system and a process. That's how a lot of people have taken ideas from the East. People from the West have taken ideas from the East, put systems and processes and made it multi-million-dollar businesses. Usually, if you see in the West, it's not very family. Some of them are family-run businesses, but predominantly it is not people-dependent. It is absolute. कोई भी चले जाए organization से organization चलता रहेगा. So that is because they put system. Like औकाफ is a system. जो भी चले जाए औकाफ और वक्फ चलता ही रहेगा इंशाल्लाह. Right? So like that, he put system. How did he do that? It's a thought, right? How did he do that? And this is a very, very important point. He used to do this ritual of night patrolling. Always, all the time. When he was Amir al-Mu'minin, he had this ritual. I explained this last week as well. He used to go in the night in disguise. Nobody used to know that he's Amir al-Mu'minin. He used to maybe probably shroud himself and go to check what is happening actually really in the community. क्या हालत क्या है लोगों की बोल के. So when he used to go, once there was a Bedouin traveler. I'm giving you a few incidents. There are a lot of incidences. If you go and study, there are a lot of inspiring incidents. I'm just sharing a few incidences from there. When he was going, he saw one Bedouin traveler who was sitting outside the tent, very एकदम परेशान, and बहुत तकलीफ में है. And suddenly he listens that there is आवाज अंदर टेंट से आ रही है, एक औरत की आवाज आ रही है और ये साहब बाहर बैठे हैं. So he goes and says, what happened? He says, just leave me alone and get out. Who is saying? A Bedouin. He is telling whom? Amirul Mu'mineen, who has come to ask what is happening. He says, no, just leave me alone, move away, just go. He says, no, please tell me, I think there's something, you're in some trouble, please tell me. He said, I told you, please go away, leave me alone. Then he keeps insisting. Finally he says, my wife is inside the tent, we are travelers, we are passing through Medina, we are moving and she is in labor. She's in labor inside and she's alone. He is so concerned and worried, he runs home. He goes and tells his wife. Just think about this, okay? Kulsum is his wife, who is the granddaughter of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and the daughter of Ali Razillah Ta'ala. He goes, अक्सर हम लोग जाते हैं तो हम कैसे काम पूछते हैं घर में, जल्दी उठो, जल्दी जाना है, कुछ काम है, चलिए मेरे साथ, है ना? When we tell our wife or somebody in the house, the moment we go, we are focused on the task to be completed. We do not understand, are they comfortable, are they in a state to come or not, it's late in the night. So what did he do? He went and said to his wife, Kulsum, Razillah Ta'ala anha, there is a very beautiful opportunity which Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala has given, which can give you immense rewards in the Akhirah. Are you interested? Look at the way he spoke to his wife. He's not saying, Utho ji jana hai. ऐसा नहीं, इतना रूड, इतना कर्ट. हम लोग क्या करते हैं, हुक्म चलाते हैं. Look at what dignified way. Just this one example is enough for us to know how we should treat our spouse. He went and said, एक बहुत beautiful opportunity आई है अल्लाह की तरफ से, जो आप करेंगे, अगर आप करेंगे तो आपको बहुत ज्यादा इसका सवाब मिलेगा. She says, Alhamdulillah, tell me what is it. So both of them get up and they move. While going, he takes some flour is there in his house and some animal fat is there. He takes both of that along with him. He goes, then he brings her to this place and he explains to her that there's a lady in labor inside. So he comes, he explains to that Bedouin traveler that this is my wife, please allow her to go inside. So he says, she goes inside, she assists that lady inside while he sits outside and said, bring some fire, help me with some firewood, let's cook some food. So they sit down and they cook food, and by then the child is born and the lady, his wife from inside, Kulsum Razillah Ta'ala, says, Amirul Mu'mineen apne dost se bata dijiye khushkhabri hai. The Bedouin is shocked. Everybody knows Umar Razillah Ta'ala. Everybody knows Amirul Mu'mineen, but he never knew that this man who came like this in the night to help him out with his wife and sitting and cooking the food is Amirul Mu'mineen. He's shocked. He just goes, I'm really sorry the way I treated you. Hey, don't worry. Calm down. You have good news. Let's have some food, serve some food inside. Kal subah mein, please come to the treasury. Baitul Mal mein आइए. आपके लिए, आपके बच्चे के लिए, आपकी बीवी के लिए, we are having provisions because you are travelers. Think about this kind of a system. What systems and processes people talk about. Look at this system. A man who leads the show is out in the world trying to collect data. Don't you think we should also do our night patrolling? May not be at night, but can we not do that patrolling in our relatives, in our friends, in our own family? Have some private time, sit down and say, what is it? Can I help you? Because people, बहुत अक्सर लोग क्या होते हैं, they will never tell you what they are going through. Even in your own family, they will never tell you what difficulties they are going through unless you sit and try to pull it out from them. And this is what Umar Razillah Ta'ala used to do. So there was another incident, last incident, inshallah I will tell and I'll close the discussion. There was another incident where he saw somebody begging. He went in the evening and he saw there was a very old man begging. He went, tapped his shoulder and asked him, who are you? And then he knew that he is not a Muslim. So he said, आप अहलुल किताब हैं, कौन से अहलुल किताब हैं आप? So he said, I'm a Jew. He said, why are you begging? He said, all my life I have paid jizya, that is the taxes. Non-Muslim pays, Muslims pay zakat and non-Muslims pay jizya. Jizya is lesser than zakat. In those days, jizya has to be lesser than the zakat. So he used to, all my life, the Jews said, all my life I paid jizya, and now I'm in a state that I'm not able to sustain myself, and the only way I can sustain is by begging. Umar Razilatan immediately took this man along with him, took him to his house, served him. In the morning, he took him to the Baitul Mal, told them, please take care of this man and all the old people of the people from the book. जो भी Jews हैं, Christians हैं, हमारी हुकूमत के अंदर जो भी लोग हैं, जो उम्र वाले हैं, उनके पास जिजिया ना ले, उनको take care of them. Look at how he went into the world to collect data and information, to understand how administration has to be done. So with this, we have a few learnings I've highlighted. One, awqaf ke bare mein, waqf. I think it's a good thing to make intention in our lifetime to allocate a part of our property towards for the sake of Allah, for the community. We will flood, inshallah, if people decide that मेरी property का 30% हिस्सा, 50% हिस्सा मरने का तो है ही है. मरने के बाद काफी लोग अपने properties अपने औलाद के लिए छोड़ के जाते हैं, and there's a lot of fitna. We've seen there's so many fights. If before we die we are able to write that very clearly, this goes to my children, this goes to everybody according to Sharia, and then you also allocate some property for waqf, and you say that this is for the community, this is for the sake of Allah, I think it will create a lot of clarity, and inshallah nobody can stop us from doing that. This is a learning which we can take from this whole thing. The second thing, an important highlight, was Umar Raziyallahu Ta'ala used to engage with the youngsters. Youth of the community को, he never used to ignore them. ये बच्चे हैं, इनको समझ में आता नहीं, कभी नहीं बोलते. उनको बुलाते और बिठाते और साथ में बात करते. ते आज के ज़माने में आपको जो problems नजर आ रहे हैं, whatever you see, what do you think if you were in my position, how would you solve this? He used to take fresh ideas. He used to take innovative ideas from the youngsters. So that's another thing. If we have youngsters around us, don't think that they are bache. After 6-7 years, they are very, very much engaged and involved and intelligent to give us good opinions. So make them sit down and talk to youngsters, to ask them opinions of how to lead this house better, how to create a better environment here, how to impact the community, how to make a difference to the ummah. Talk to the youngsters, because that's where उनके अंदर फिक्र भी शुरू होगी कि लोगों के लिए हम भी responsible हैं. So these are some of the things. How we treat our own children. Look at the way he treated his own child. When he had a piece of watermelon, he said, no, you can't take it. You are not entitled. Whereas we, the moment our children ask something, we give it to them. What are we creating? We are building their nafs. We are building their desires. The moment a child asks something, do not give it. Let them earn it. Give them a task and say, you complete this task, I will give you something. Don't just give things. They will feel entitled. They will afterwards start looking at a life of greed, not a life of need. And the last but not the least, the highlight was the way he treated the servants. If I really want to check my iman, I should know how I treat the people below me. If I really want to know who I am, I should know how I treat the people who are working for me, who are the beggars, who are the people who don't have any kind of personality. Unke saath mein kaise, what kind of transaction I do. I think if we are able to look at these few points from the life of Umar Raziyallahu Ta'ala, we will be able to understand that Iman is just not about concepts and thoughts and talk. It's about implementation. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to take these lessons, learn about them, and implement them in our lives, that it can become a source of inspiration for the people to come, inshallah. Barakallahu lana wa lakum في القرآن العظيم ونفعنا وإياكم بالآيات وذكر الحكيم إنه تعالى جواد كريم بر رؤوف رحيم ورب حليم.